We all live. We all live.
Oh my
You
God.
already know. That's how we start the show.
You're sober. How?
What's going on, y'all? What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the End Zone Podcast. It's your boy B Foster. B Foster's in the building. Welcome to another episode of the Wednesday. Glad you all could join us. It's a beautiful. Hey, spring is here, y'all. Spring is here. I know I'm gonna say that, and tomorrow it's gonna snow. I shouldn't jinx it, but I feel good about it. We're about to get it in. We had one summer. It was alright. We were still kind of shaky last summer. This summer right here, it's about to go down.
We outside.
We outside.
We out here in these streets.
You already know. We already know. Hey, listen, we got a good one coming on today. Let me introduce my guest, and let's dive right to the topic because I think we're going to take 20 minutes just to describe what the actual conversation and definition of this topic is. Let me introduce my co-hostess with the mostest as always, Shontelle. What's happening, baby?
I thought you were skipping over me. Hey, in the zone. I didn't know what we were doing. So
We never skip.
I mean, that's okay. I'm clearly here.
You are clearly here.
Clearly.
Looking like you Foster.
And very drunk. Don't take on the froze. She'll be straight next week.
Everywhere the light touches is your domain.
That's how you know we drunk. Because they don't shit like.
I said, oh, your man or y'all did that. And with the jokes with the most already. He ain't even as drunk as the rest of us is my man. With the black on black, Turon Ivy.
Black was good family. Hey, it's on podcast. Let's get
Hey, my boy ain't been in the new studio. Glad to have him back.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have him back. And on my right side,
Your best side.
my best side, my bestie, my girl. Y'all know her. Y'all see her. She got the black on black too.
Yeah, we was coordinated.
Memo, you got bang, bang, bang.
Look, with all the shit behind you, y'all just floating heads. But it's all right.
Max Evans, what is wrong?
Wait, I'm gonna put some color on. But hey,
Now you go. What's up, my girl Erica? What's happening, baby?
hey, y'all, hey.
You ain't been on in a long time.
It's
Either.
been a long time. Y'all miss me? Send me a comment.
Don't get in that inbox, y'all.
I know. That's in a comment. Don't go too far.
Right, I was about to say,
Don't go too far.
it's a family show.
Is it though?
But anyway, so,
Oh, you know what?
Kissing cousins.
Whoa.
Wait, what happened here?
That was too far.
Chantel didn't what?
Don't be confrontational tonight.
First of all,
Too late.
Contrarian.
Too late.
that's my job. I am here to be contrary, but you are the master of that, Mr. Two. But thank you for watching. I said what I said. Make sure you check out their podcast. They are quite entertaining.
But that's my boys. I said what I said with Two and her every Monday and Wednesday, 1 to 3. But let's dive into our situation tonight, y'all. Conversation we having. Are relationships at their core, we're talking about romantic relationships. Although it doesn't necessarily have to be, but that's what we're focusing on tonight. Are romantic relationships at their core transactional? And if they're not, should they be? So let's dive into it right now. Erica.
Oh, excuse me?
Wow.
He just-
Did you not get the memo?
He's all right. He's fine.
No extra
I
sound.
was going in.
He's
so-
fine. He's
We're
fine.
live.
We're live. You don't want to start it?
I can start it. What do you-
I'm gonna say,
so what's
no.
the-
You know what? I'm
good.
gonna go to my co-host.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. All right.
Transactional. What would you consider that when it comes to relationships, romantic relationships? How do you define
So I think if you just think about transactional relationships
Uh-oh.
in general, I am drunk, ladies and gentlemen.
Get her a
so
glass of
words
Wow, is it possible?
are
Okay, never
going
mind.
to be an issue because I don't drink. That's the problem.
that? That's not.
Which you think I just came back from Vegas, clown, but that's not the point of the story. So
Did you have some transactional relations in Vegas?
at the roulette table, absolutely, 1,000%.
That was not really.
Wait, and can you define transaction? before
Now,
we
see,
go on?
there's
Sorry,
the question.
Yeah.
So, to me, a transactional relationship is when you're in it to get something. Now, whatever that something is for you to define, whether it is compatibility, whether it's a relationship, whether it's marriage, whether it's money, whether it's an orgasm, apparently, according to Turon. If you are in it to gain something, to me, that's transactional.
So you're in it to gain something. You're strictly in it to gain
something, yes.
Okay. Because I think we're all in a relationship to gain something.
No, now you already know what my position is. All right.
Erica, transactional.
I think that relationships are only transactional when there is an exchange of goods and services.
Did this motherfucker just take my...
No. So look, I asked earlier, like, is it goods and services that we're talking about when we're saying transactional, or are we really talking about like emotional supports? Or because I feel like everybody who's in a relationship is looking to gain something. So it depends on how we're defining transaction. If transaction is monetary or some other tangible benefit, something you can touch, feel, hold, like if there's a tangible benefit, then I don't agree that all relationships are transactional. However, if we're talking about I give to get, then all relationships are transactional because everybody is in something for something.
Okay.
That makes sense?
No, it does.
Okay. So that's how I feel.
That's how you feel. Ivy?
What's she saying?
I don't know. No fucking idea what she just said.
Too much sauce. Too much sauce. Okay. So, come on. I'm breaking it down.
Break it down.
Listen. If the point of me being in the relationship is to gain financially, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this relationship because this person can provide this for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a tangible benefit. Monetary gain, houses, cars, buildings.
Two flats.
Right?
Condos.
Condos, right? If there's a tangible exchange, if there's even if it's maintenance money, like hair and nails, because maintenance money is the thing, right? Even if it's maintenance money. Maintenance money means hair, nails, the things that a woman needs to maintain. You're paying for my waxes, you're paying for my nails,
liposuction count?
You're paying for my spa days.
Liposuction. Yes.
Right. So if it's maintenance, even if it's maintenance money, that's a transactional relationship. However, if we're talking about things like, oh, he gives me emotional stability, I don't think that's a transaction. I think that's par for the course with the relationship.
Agreed.
I gotta pop right in there real quick because right out the gates, your transactional was all about the woman. Now, clearly, one thing that did not happen is Brian was not in it for hair days. I'm just saying. The thrill is gone, my brother. The thrill is gone.
That's the second time.
Fire. Wow. That's how we coming out of this podcast.
This is hilarious because this is today is the second anniversary of when I started shaving my hair. So fuck all y'all.
Switch. No, but why is it that when you instantly as a woman say transaction, it comes to those things that are vain in that sense? You know, and I would say that a relationship itself, yes, transactional, but I'm more along the lines of my co-host here, B. False. Yeah, I took that.
I see. You want my seat? Should we switch?
Is this another
transaction all around?
You know, but to me, it's more about the whole emotional stability and things like this. Because men always tend to be much more independent. We don't need those particular things, like pedicure, the manicure. Excuse me, it's not your turn.
Oh, you're right.
Thank you.
It's my turn.
So with that, you know, we're more the ones that are providers, and it's cool. It's cool because, you know, Oprah turned me down 16 times.
6? You counted?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Holly turned her down twice. Yeah, she's a little awkward.
That's because she waiting for Brian.
Just make that call. Just make that call. No, but really, you know, I guess the part of the best explanation of it is that you are going to get something out of it, whether it's some financial gains, whether they're ill-gotten or not. That emotional stability that that path, that family. You know, I can tell you I've been in a relationship. I'm like, hey, you know, my transaction was, or my thing I wanted was these 2 beautiful kids that I have. You know,
but is that what you? Sorry, is that what you wanted when you went in?
No, I wanted the pussy when I went in.
Is that not a transaction?
That's a transaction.
I did not.
Well,
pay for
wait,
it.
did you pay for it?
I did not.
In any
It don't
way,
matter.
in any way, shape, form, or fashion?
Gas.
Well, I
time.
did.
Dates, dinners.
Dates.
Dude,
Time.
this was
How'd you
college
pay?
we're talking about.
Oh,
So yeah, you know,
Okay, wait.
ramen. I paid in ramen noodles.
That is not a transaction.
No, wait.
Dollar shows, you know,
Wait. Were
yeah.
you a college athlete?
At that time, no, I had
Okay,
that.
dang. I was going to say you paid in status. Because status.
Ooh.
No, but I did pay.
Okay.
Another conversation anyway, so keep it going. No, that was my time I was saying.
Oh,
that was my time.
Time is
the most
thing you
valuable
can
thing
pay
that you
for.
have.
He was not talking about time.
He
But
wasn't
don't
talking
fall
about
for that,
I know.
But yeah, because status is a legitimate
Chantel,
transactional.
wasn't gonna be
I
false.
agree. I agree.
I'm sorry. I don't know if he was on.
It's on you.
No,
It's on you.
It's on me.
My bad.
It's on me.
My bad.
So I think what we're getting at when we're talking about transactional relationships, and I know everybody out there was asking, like, what is a like, how are we even having this conversation? I think and Erica probably summed it up the way I would. Transactional relationships are when something solid is exchanged. Solid could be dick. Solid could be money. Solid could be property. Solid could be your hair and neck. It could be pussy. It could be whatever. Solid is you give me this, I give you that, and that is the basis of our relationship. So transactional, I think, in olden times meant your father endowed you to another family, and they gave you some goats and some hay or whatever it was,
Right.
and that was how transactions happened, right? So now I think what we're saying is, if you are going into this, and this isn't an emotional relationship, this is
It's very expensive.
it is. This is a very much a quid pro quo. You give this, I give that. Now, I'm not saying that emotions aren't totally involved, but that's not the basis of this relationship. And once you stop providing what I agreed to be in this relationship for, be that money, be that whatever it is, this relationship is done. Now, we can say that if you are emotionally involved, but once those emotions fade, we're done, sure. But that's not really a transaction. That's more feelings. That's more the basis of a real quote unquote relationship.
Feeling.
And feelings. And I guess my question then is that the right way to do it? Or basing your relationships off emotions, I won't say more practical, but better? I don't even say that. I was making it even better. Better than having a very set standard and rules on what we expect from each other. Because if we just base it off emotions, those ebb and flow, and you don't know what you're gonna get from day to day for the most part. You hope you get this emotional support. You hope you get this love. You hope you get this, but you just never know. But you do know when that check don't deposit. You do know when that car payment's not made. You do know when that mortgage is in default. It's hard to say when your emotional check didn't catch. So are we at this age, I'm going to ask this question right up front, we all are mature adults, at this age, doing it again, knowing what you know now.
Again?
Doing it, period, moving forward.
Being clear.
Being clear.
What's the thing you're talking about doing again?
If you're marriage, love, relationship.
I've never been married.
Marriage, love, relationship, and Turon is not married. Are we wrong for doing it the way it's typically said it should be done? Married for love. Married because you love it.
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
All the wrong places. Or should you maybe steer towards this transactional and baby love will come in it?
Well, that happens now. I mean,
Talk on it.
So ladies, and they talk about it, you've seen it. How many of you out there gone and said, let me find this sugar daddy? Strictly, why you getting
I just feel like I'm a little old for sugar daddies. Sugar daddies like them in their 20s.
You
But I
had no
digress.
sugar daddy when you was young?
I did not actually. That's so unfortunate.
Hmm.
It's my own fault.
it was offered, but what it is,
I didn't say it was offered.
I just said it was offered. I said you didn't see the value in it, or you didn't put yourself in the right position.
That is such
Your
a long
head over
story,
your-
and it truthfully is its own podcast.
I mean, we got a little
But
bit of
I
time.
digress.
But
We
Because
don't.
does a
that-
sugar
that-
daddy
that's
have to
it.
be old?
No, not
No.
necessarily. Not in
Okay,
this day and
then,
age.
yep. Okay, right.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you're going into that and
As long as you got the sugar.
cup of brown sugar. But the bottom line was on that is that folks go into that in the society that we live in right now. We talk about how things change. It is about status. It is about what can I get? What can I drive? How am I going to dress? How am I going to be perceived by the public?
Yeah.
Now we've seen a lot of folks that's been, we want to say socially rich, but house broke.
Yeah.
You know, and that's problematic to me. You know, and my thing is you get into relationships to help now define your own legacy. That's what I roll with. And that means that what I'm going to do from that birth to my death and in between and what we're going to leave behind. Fortunately, unfortunately, you know, I'm the cat that says, listen, what can we do to make something better? And I would need that partner to be that one to be able to support making that happen. So that can come in the form of emotional stability, it can come in the form of financial stability, and sometimes the roles flip.
But isn't that
I
transactional?
agree.
It could be to a certain extent. I mean, if you want to define it that way.
That sound actually, I was just going to say the opposite. That sounds more like a real relationship.
But isn't that
But
Yeah, I'm
that
in a
the
real
goal?
relationship.
Is that what's the goal?
A real relationship.
Is it? Is it the goal? I'm asking. I don't know.
I don't know either. It depends on what we talk about.
It depends on what they want, I suppose.
It depends
I
on
mean,
what
you want a relationship, but do you want a real
you
relationship?
want a real
where
one.
we have equality, emotional stability. There's no quid pro quo. There's no you do this, I do that. This is really just I'm invested in this relationship, and everything I do is building on top of this and this and this for legacy,
Yeah.
for us, yada yada yada. That sounds real, like a fucking real relationship. I'm talking about
That's getting married.
that's yeah, that shit. Not even that.
But
Maybe
my question becomes: if all of those things are not there, don't you leave?
No.
That's the point of a transactional
Nah.
relationship at its core. Well, I won't say at
Nah.
its core, but at its surface.
Right?
If I'm Khloe Kardashian, who's not rich, obviously she is, and she's fucking with Tristan Thompson.
Where they come from?
I'm just.
been talking about-
I was at the Bulls game the other day. That's what it's
That came from his core. That from his shondo.
Right. Well, let's just talk about all these young ladies, Instagram models that get with these cast of the ball, right?
Right.
I don't think they in love with most of these dudes or they're to build with them. They're there to get what they can get because these cats got money. And so as long as he's paying this, that, and the other, I'll keep myself tight. I'll keep myself fit. I'll keep sucking his dick good. He gets what he gets. I get what I get. And when one of the two fail, I'm out.
And he's funding it.
That's a
He's
transaction.
funding the lifestyle. So that's the transaction, right? I get to have this lifestyle by dating this man. It's not so much about him. At that point, at that level, it's about the lifestyle that the man can afford.
Of the shallow woman. That's what we're saying.
Well,
That's
wouldn't a
fine.
man
Why
also
she
be
gotta be
shallow? Because
shallow?
it's not like he's oblivious to
And
any of
that's
this.
fine too. Because
Well,
he not in it for love.
Because he's not
Yeah.
dating
Because as soon as she
Bertha.
gets saggy,
Why she gotta
as
be
soon as
shallow?
her hair ain't right,
As soon as she
That-
stops
as
that
soon as she stops
laser.
sucking dick, he out.
Big facts.
He gone.
But I guess my question is, if you don't feel emotionally safe, if you don't feel emotionally supported, isn't that effectively a transaction? You're not getting something that you thought you would get.
Did you feel that way originally?
Well, I'm just going back to the original conversation where you said that's a marriage. If you don't get those things,
What I'm saying
don't
is
you leave?
if you were rich,
No.
not all the time. Not if you got
No.
kids involved. Not if your finances are tied up.
No.
It's a complicated mix of things. once
Not
that
if you
happens.
can't survive without him.
Well, then that's also a transaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a way, sure.
Okay.
If you
What I'm
say-
saying, the difference is you didn't walk into it with that, right? That
Okay.
maybe that kind of those are circumstances. That's what happened. You walked into it saying, "I'm in love. It's me and him. We in this together." Yada yada yada. And then maybe he said, "Baby, don't work. I want you to work. I'm the one who had to work. You had these kids, and I got you, and blah 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 blah."
Where that black man at? But anyway.
He gone.
No, he out there.
Yeah.
My brother's one.
He's
I
a
ain't even gonna-
professional athlete.
Yeah.
No, my brother's
Oh,
one.
shit.
And he is definitely nobody's athlete.
My
But
ex-wife got one.
My
That's
father
why
was
she's
that.
my ex-wife. Because you got to work in my house.
and there you go.
I'm just
Y'all
saying.
like-
Your office hours are.
Next.
You working. If you're over the age of 16, You were
The word for today is job.
What if it's
Johnny job.
Oh.
O-B.
What
Job.
if it's Paris Hilton?
What if it's Paris Hilton?
You can't expect her to work. She fucking Paris Hilton.
I don't need her to work if she's
No,
Paris
I'm
Hilton.
right.
Matter of fact, I'm not working. As a matter of fact, the transaction is I'm
You
popping
don't
them dick
gotta work.
pills.
Right. Paris,
Eating them
that's a
motherfuckers
whole
like Tic
different-
Tacs.
So let's talk about that though.
Let's
Let's
talk
explore
about
that. Let's talk about when the woman is the one who has the ability to be the financier.
Okay. What is
Oprah.
Oprah.
I got
Why
it, bitch.
y'all trying to
Oprah.
do this Oprah thing? Like,
Paris
if Oprah
Hilton.
was regular $80,000 money, y'all would not pay her no
That's
fucking
what we
attention.
said.
That's the point.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because
y'all.
there's so many women who don't date men who they would not mess with if he didn't have
That's
money.
fair.
That's my point.
I can name a whole handful.
I'm not picking Oprah up at
That's
CVS
a
when I'm shopping with my
Bruh. I ain't picking Oprah up and busting my back. I just got the chiropractor.
You're not picking Oprah up in Walgreens.
What I'm saying is, unless I see Oprah Winfrey,
Okay.
but it was Oprah was like Oprah off 87.
Oprah
That shit ain't happening.
Well, on 87, her name is Oprah.
Oh, no,
Opal.
it's Oprah.
Well,
It's Oprah.
It's Opal. Her name is Opal.
So what's
name
your
is
so what's your question here?
My question is, when it's flipped, are men as transactional?
Absolutely,
As
1000%.
transactional?
Y'all just sat here and said y'all would fuck Oprah because she's fucking Oprah. Absolutely, it's
That's what
transactional.
these men
What
said, but I'm talking about generally.
I have
We
talked to
think
at least
that men
30
have the
men who
ability
would
to
fuck
be
Oprah
transactional.
because she's a billionaire. 1000%.
So-
Okay,
Would you fuck
let's
Jay-Z?
not do billionaire though, because the average woman isn't a
Yeah,
billionaire.
I was about to say,
Fair.
let's change
So let's
the terms
do
here.
regular
Regular 6-figure girl?
Yeah,
Okay.
have 6 figures. Maybe let's put it in the 3s.
I don't know.
wait.
How's
That's
the
not, no,
comment?
that's not high six figures.
Okay.
That's not
Sustainable 6 figures.
Okay. All
There
right.
you go.
So
I was about
she's
to say,
in the
there's a
3s.
difference.
She's in the 3s.
What about it? All right, what's
Like
so
300,000?
she
I'll fuck that bitch for 300,000.
Wait,
You
let's
make
explore that.
$300,000.
Let's explore that.
Sean's inbox.
She
ladies.
has an inbox, and she said,
You can hit the box.
You can hit that box.
For 300K.
3 hit the box.
I'm kidding, sort of.
No.
I was about to say, all jokes aside.
All jokes got a little bit of truth in them. But
Right.
what's your question is?
So my question is, if a woman is in the power position in a relationship where she's the one who can fulfill the transaction, because we're talking about, I'm keeping it in the context of transaction, where there's something that the man wants and this woman has the ability to provide it. Do men have the ability to be as transactional as this conversation has shaped women to be?
Yes.
Absolutely.
But does that work long term?
So I will say this. I think you have a certain subsection to everybody, right? Men, women, other, whatever the case may be. How you feel about this? How you feel about that? There is a section of men, and it might be substantial, that would not be comfortable with that, right? Because we are traditionally raised to be providers, to be protectors, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But as the generations have changed and the rules have and lines have been blurred, I think there are plenty of dudes that have zero issue with the woman being the breadwinner, or at least the one that makes more money, even if they're not. If she makes 200, he make 120. She's not exactly the breadwinner, right? But but she's making more.
Yeah.
I think more and more men are comfortable with that, and I think more and more women are comfortable. Fuck you. You just got it. More and more women are comfortable being in that position.
You're terrible.
I just laughed.
Terrible.
And let me state for the record, I give 0.
Too many.
As a matter of fact, I hunted for that shit.
Right.
So it is well known and well stated. So anyway, that's my. So I
Public
think,
record.
Public record. So I think that's a thing. I don't know if that's as big of a thing as it used to be. Yeah. Sean, what's that?
I missed the question.
Sean is scrolling.
I'm reading the comments.
It's in her inbox.
No, I'm reading the comments.
The one just with 2 that
Go
we
ahead.
put out there, I just want to say, I can't, and I always talk about our circle. So my circle is my perception, aka my reality. Stated in there that the average, you said dual.
Yes, Tucson. Thank you,
What
Tucson.
you say?
Said that they don't
60,000.
make over 60,000 combined.
Who?
No, that's probably
average.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Who don't
that's
make
probably
over
accurate.
That's right.
A black
That's
couple.
the black
A black
average
couple.
Yeah.
I think that's
Oh,
bullshit.
wow.
No, I think that's
no,
accurate.
no.
I think
No,
that's
it's
accurate.
probably accurate.
Ron, you got to remember, and a lot of people hate us saying this shit.
very,
We are the
it's really
talented
accurate.
10.
We are.
Ooh,
Which
how
means
unfortunate.
90%.
Excuse me?
Which means 90% of black people aren't earning or have degrees like we do.
Nowhere
It's just-
near.
Yeah.
Nowhere near us.
You gotta think about that for a second.
I'm sad.
Hey, okay.
That's a real stat.
Yeah,
That's
real. That's true.
Thanks for bringing us to reality.
Good shit too.
Fuck you.
Damn, too.
Can I go back to Tamika's comment?
What's
she say?
Tamika, let the sugar daddy win. Just let him win. Okay?
Let him win. What's he winning?
Don't worry about it. She commented earlier and I saw it and I didn't get to respond to it. But Tamika, go.
Find that comment, B.
Go. Go. Okay, next. Keep
I
going.
got zero interest. I have zero problems with the sugar daddy. Let the sugar daddy do what he got to do. Because I don't know what I'm talking about. I have a man who seems like he's interviewing. There you go, do it.
That's it.
We
That's
had
the one.
We had this.
That's the one.
We had this
That's the
conversation
one.
earlier, Turon. You weren't there. I want to
Do
bring you in on it. Let the sugar daddy do what he got to do. But here's what happens, and Erica and Shontelle both agree with this. You usually don't get a sugar daddy and get good dick.
That's
right?
true.
That's why you're paying for it.
That's why he's paying for
That's
it.
why he's paying
Because
for it.
he's got to make up for inadequacies in other areas.
Yeah.
If you got good dick, you probably not spending a bunch of money because why do you have to?
Oh, you don't.
don't have to. That's terrible.
But why is it? I mean,
It's terrible
Flip that on his
because
head with women.
no, but I'm saying it's terrible because how did we get here? As a
but women
society?
don't get that
How do
same
we-
luxury. You
It's
can't
always
just be
been like
good.
that.
You can't
Has
look
it?
good
Some
and that just
pussy
be it. You
has been
can't do
on for
that.
years.
You said what?
You can't, as a woman, just look good and then that just be your strong suit.
I disagree.
I
completely.
disagree.
Eventually you won't look good. Eventually you will be 80 years old. And
eventually.
Not
that's
if
it.
you got
I'm
money.
gonna go with you,
If
baby
you
girl.
got money, you
I don't
gotta
think
look
you
good
can
for
be
the
Pause.
rest of your life.
Just hit the whole quick. Listen to what she said. She said you cannot
Just
look
be
good, and that's the only thing.
that you that's the only
Bro.
attribute
I
you
think that's
That's
have.
how all these Instagram models are winning.
I think
But that's for a hot second.
it
That's
a
not
hot second?
longevity.
No.
What's
Listen,
wrong
all you
with
gotta do is
No.
look good long enough to have a baby.
with the right person?
Ask Tristan
I-
Thompson's baby mamas.
Well, okay, you have an S on that, no problem.
I mean, if you take Khloe Kardashian out of it, she has a lot of money. We can't count Tristan. Tristan is a special little,
No,
he's a
he's
little
not.
microcosm.
No,
Man,
he's
his,
not.
his pull-out game is
He's
weak.
not.
That's-
He's
I don't
not.
think he's right. I'm trying to.
But he's not trying to have these women long
He's fine, of
term.
course.
I guess it depends on what you're looking for. I don't know if they want to have Tristan Thompson in their life long term.
But we're talking about long term, like marriage,
Okay, so let's talk
relationship.
about long term.
And you can't be, you as a woman cannot look good, and that's your only asset in a
yes, you
relationship.
can. You're just gonna get cheated on.
You don't get
First of all, you get cheated on regardless. Oprah would get cheated on. It makes zero. Let me put it in perspective.
Hold on, wait.
J Lo and
Don't
Halle
do
Berry
that.
have both been cheated on
Well,
multiple
wait,
times.
let me
But
say it so
J Lo
clear.
and Halle Berry married men who were at the same level of status as them.
Somewhat.
J Lo married a fucking waiter and he cheated on her. Just saying.
Oh, Jay-Z cheated on
Because her
Beyonce.
box is trash.
Jay-Z was rich too.
They box trash.
So, I don't know.
What?
I don't know if that's true or false.
How you go? Wait.
What?
He said their box is trash.
That's what I'm saying.
Did you fuck him? How you know?
I don't
You
talk
been
about
there?
who I
You
knocked
been there?
down.
What witness? What witness?
I don't talk about what was
That man just said Beyonce's box was trash.
And quite frankly, Beyonce's box could be trash because that bitch on the way of being a billionaire
Okay,
too.
I can't.
Wait, hold on. We all off topic. But
Let's
we
talk.
get down.
Can we get back to transactions?
No. Let's talk about transactions. The prettier the woman, the trash her box is.
Are you telling us
I'm
that?
telling
Because I have no
you.
context
And
for
so
that.
that's what we were saying earlier. That's why you just can't go. But that's transactional also. So you're with her. Her looks, so you out there, your boys be like, oh, B. Right?
So
You
y'all
get
lie.
home,
I hate
and
that
that
point.
motherfucker dry.
Not dry.
I won't say
You talking
trash.
about this is dry or
That
that's
point
dry?
is terrible.
Ooh, no.
Ooh.
I'm gonna tell you that's accurate.
Bruh.
But this is the flip side of the coin of if he ain't got good dick, he gotta spend money.
Mhm.
If she look good, she ain't putting in a whole lot of work because she got dick just all over fucking dick. Everywhere she go, dick. So she ain't gotta do no hard work. She ain't gotta do no hard work.
Right, and she's not. She lazy.
Oh my god.
That's right.
Oh my god.
So
So she a pillow queen too?
I hate y'all.
I'm not saying this is not for everyone, obviously. There are
Dry
exceptions
head
to
and-
every rule.
And a pillow queen. Wow.
Not pretty pillow princess.
Yes, pretty
Thank you,
pillow
Michelle.
princess. Yes.
Michelle Westside, she know.
Stroke.
She know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But we have
Digress.
digressed.
I mean, so far.
we have
So
digressed.
far.
That makes me ask a question like,
Go ahead.
when a rich dude and a pretty chick get together, what is that sex like? But nobody's gonna dig into that because that's got to be trash. That's got to be awful.
And do either one of them care?
Obviously.
You talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce. Never mind.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Women have millions of IG
So, a
followers
rich
just because they
dude
have fat asses. That's
and a
exactly
pretty
right,
woman.
April.
Yeah, but do they have? I hate being that woman. I
I
don't want to be that woman that's like, but you got a man. Like,
But that's
who
your
gives a shit?
transaction. You gave up the
Gives a
looks
shit.
and all that for the
So
look
wait,
that
y'all
we
really
had.
gonna sit here and double down on pretty women have trash box?
No, we didn't say that.
I don't
We said
think
that
that's true.
all.
Buster said
No,
that.
he said that that's all she had going for her.
Got it. I just need to clarify because
She felt
Well,
the kind of
obviously,
way.
nothing is
felt
100%.
This was not about you, okay? It was not about you.
She felt personally attacked.
Jesus.
I felt attacked. Okay.
She was pretty quiet for a little while.
She was like, I'm
I'm
gonna have
over
to
there
prove.
pondering.
I'm gonna have to prove some people
Hey.
wrong here.
I'm like, I can't
She
prove
flipping
it,
through her
but
phone
I'm
and shit.
trying
She
to,
like, I hate it here.
can you call in? Okay, my bad.
That's an interesting question. So Darren asked, you see that one? Thank you. Are you considering transactional and reciprocal to be the same thing? Interesting. Interesting.
I don't think.
I don't
the-
know.
I don't think the reciprocation has to be equal,
Okay.
but there has to be some reciprocation.
Isn't that ultimately transactional though?
I agree. I'm just saying the
So-
transactions don't have to equal up.
I disagree. I think to Darren's point, it can be transactional and not reciprocal. So
Okay, let's talk about it.
Transactional is I give you this, you give me this,
Mhm.
right? But there are people out there who are complete like pleasers. Like I'm gonna give.
Mm.
I like to give, but then there's that reciprocal. But I like to give. My joy is found in making you happy.
And if your joy isn't received,
Isn't
because
that
they're
reciprocal?
You saying because they're not giving
That's
anything
what I
back,
said is a reciprocal.
but they are giving something back because they're getting the
because
joy.
they get
from
the joy of giving.
Yes.
Huh.
Ooh, Darren, good
Darren, that's a good question.
question.
Because I don't know that there's
Ooh.
anybody who's just going to give and get nothing out of it. Like nothing at all.
I would honestly say they're the same. Because nobody's
Reciprocal
gonna
and
transactional means you give
Well-
something to get something.
But but does reciprocal mean that you get what you give?
Reciprocal,
I
and
would-
somebody
I would
needs
more-
to put up
To
a
the
Merriam-Webster's
I'm going.
dictionary. Reciprocal means
I'm going.
that
right now.
we are somebody. There you go, Brian. That's
Come
right.
on, yes.
Look
Let's look up reciprocal.
While Brian's over here watching porn.
This is not. I'm actually on marriage.com, and it's
Given, felt, or done in return.
Damn, baby.
Yes, they feel like the same. Darren.
He's the ultimate. I like
See, we got-
Listen, we got a producer working on it.
That's right.
him.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
Given,
Oh, should I do my
felt,
voice
or
again?
done in
Like I did the
return.
last time I read the
yes,
screen?
please.
Given, felt, or done in return. I have to do my sexy voice. Wait.
Is that why you put
That's
girls
what
up?
it was.
Yes. I was trying. It was better the last time.
Try
I'm too
again.
drunk to do it. this
Come
Come on, you
time.
gotta come on, pull it
I
back.
One
can't
more
read
time.
it. It's too small.
Hold on, B's getting it up there. Hold on.
It's
Sorry.
too tiny.
Ooh, that's
I got dig
that's
deep.
not what she said.
Of an agreement or obligation bearing on or binding each of two parties equally. Yes, this sounds transactional to me.
Yeah.
Can we Google
No, let's do
transaction real quick?
I think equally is the key word in that sense.
Equally, okay, let's see. Transaction.
But you see that part there? She was hoping for some reciprocal cop.
That's not
That's not-
Relating
he changed
to
it.
the
He changed
conduct-
it.
Expanded. More definitions. Can we get more definitions? That's fine.
That is a graph. That's
That's
not
right.
helpful.
Relating
Um,
to-
Relating to the something he
No,
scrolled.
hold on, big scroll back up. I think you got it.
Exchange or interaction between.
Especially
people.
buying or selling. Related
Buy-
to exchange
so
or
transaction
interaction
is buying
between
and
people.
selling.
It's business. I think is the key word in that definition.
Business. So are your relationships a business agreement? There are a lot of people who feel like marriage is a business arrangement.
1000%.
Marriage is a business
agreement. Yeah.
But is it only?
That's why it's legally binding.
But is it only?
No. Well, depends on the marriage, right?
Depends on if you're a transactional person.
Exactly.
Or if you're looking for reciprocity.
Exactly.
They're feeling kind of the same to me.
Do you even know? I know a lot of people who are like, I'm getting married because financially it makes more sense.
Now, let's get back to the original part. That's the second part of my original question. Doesn't that make more sense? Or does that not make more sense? Does it make more sense to be in it for the emotional transaction?
Mm-hmm.
Or does it make more sense to get into it for the, depending on the party, the financial piece of the transaction?
All right, so while Turon is twittering, I don't know what the fuck he's doing over there.
He's handling.
Fun fact, love and wedding rings is a 20th century phenomenon. Anytime before that, people were getting married for property, to gain access, to gain wealth.
Yeah.
There were no rings.
Status.
So I would say, I think it makes more sense to marry based on transactions.
However,
since those were a little bit more successful.
Define success.
They stayed married.
I can kill
they
that.
stayed married with 7 wives.
Well,
I mean, we're talking about
that's
slavery times.
Western.
You stay married
That's
and
Western.
raped
No,
slaves.
they had
married because the
multiple
women
partners.
could not go anywhere because they were
True.
not financially set up to do so.
True.
Wait, and the women were essentially sold into marriage. Let's go even further back than the last 100 years. Women were sold into marriage. Women had a dowry.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So
Talking to them goats and stuff.
There are parts of the world that women are still have a dowry.
Still have a dowry.
Let's talk that.
Where are they? I need
so
that.
India.
don't do that.
Well-
So, but here's the thing. So if we're going to talk about long-term relationships, i.e. marriage, as a business arrangement, we also have to consider the fact that the men in those arrangements had multiple wives because they were business transactions and they were amassing wealth. And so they could have 4 wives, and each wife brought them cattle and money and
What country are we talking about?
any country but
Oh,
here.
well,
This is most
Any country but here.
Yeah.
Well,
Any
all
country
I'm
but
saying-
Puritans. Fucking Puritans!
Oh God.
Sorry.
Everybody
Wow,
but
okay.
All I'm saying
here.
is
Everywhere but here.
that the idea of relationships in the West,
Yeah.
meaning here, is far different than it is in any other part.
Which
the
is
world.
which is why I'm bringing
right,
it
that's
up
all I'm
because
asking.
Shontelle brought up the fact that there were business arrangements that
Prior to the 20th century.
but men were allowed to have multiple wives.
He was allowed to have as many as he can take
As
care of.
many as he could take care of.
But that
Sounds-
wasn't a
sounds like
westernized
modern-day
ideology.
athlete.
That was not
brought
a
over. That was brought over.
that was not a westernized ideology. If we just look at just westernized society.
Yeah, but we
What
not
wasn't
Western.
Western?
We are
from
Western.
We're the West.
Girl, what?
I'm from Africa.
You ain't even been there.
All right,
Shut your
Callahan, relax
ass
over
up.
there. There's a lot of Callahans in Egypt.
That is my married name. I'm from Ghana. What's that?
What's your maiden name?
What was your last
What's your maiden name?
Larkin, that was Irish too, but that's not the point.
Oh, okay.
Shaniqua.
Like what?
That's not the point. You're missing the point.
Let me ask this. Who bases their relationships off being transactional more? Men or women?
Women.
I'm gonna let the guests.
Women.
Really?
So you
I
said
didn't say let the
Fuck.
get. Women.
Really?
Men base their relationships, and if y'all lie in these comments, we gonna get y'all.
let me see it in the
Looks
comments.
at-
Men and women.
Hand. Now, do they base it off of money? No, but looks, you got to look a certain way. You
Disagree.
cannot get married and look like anything. That's just not
What?
gonna happen.
Do you remember
Disagree.
Biggie?
I know.
I'm saying,
I
hold on,
know.
listen.
Oh, y'all
Y'all
just
just married
Shallow
women that
X.
look like anything?
No, she's
Not like
saying women
anything.
can't look like
You
anything.
cannot
Not
look
like
like
anything.
anything and get a man.
But I don't think that men fad.
How?
There's a
How
lot of
many?
ugly men.
How many?
A lot. A lot. Don't make me go through my
And no, you cannot go through your
married.
Facebook.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Take her
We're
phone.
not doing that. We're not doing that.
And then if that's the case, how many ugly unmarried? Never mind.
How many ugly broke dudes are married?
That's a bunch of
Gang of them.
There are a bunch of broke dudes who are married and loved on and taken well care of.
My point.
There are a lot of unattractive women who are married. I don't think people are unattractive, but in the general sense of the word.
Then how you know if it's
Shallow
all
air
about
over here, like shallow house, shallow air.
We have this conversation quite often, but I don't think people are ugly. But I think that
like
that's a podcast for another day. But I think that there are a lot of people who are, in the general sense of the term, unattractive that are married. I don't think that men marry for attraction. I think that people, period.
what do men marry for?
Hold on, not physical attraction. I think that people, period, marry for stability.
Nope.
I don't.
No, that's true. That's true. Keep going.
I think that people marry for stability. I think that people date and how they love flings and all of those things for attraction. But going back to your point that marriage is a business transaction, I think that people marry for stability. You marry the most stable of them all. Sometimes they fat. You be like, yes, she look good. She got money. She ain't got 18 baby daddies. Like, we in there. Right, we in there. Right?
See it too.
But sometimes she got everything but the looks. If she got everything but the looks, a man won't let that go.
I'm sorry. Men are not marrying nobody who don't make their dick hard.
Psych.
That's just part of the...
Psych.
Marrying
But why do you think that attractive women are the only people that make their...
See, attractive is very subjective to the individual. So the man has to be attracted to you to
marry
you.
But you said pretty.
Let me dial it back. Let me dial it back. Because pretty is also subjective, right?
Yes,
A man has to be attracted to you to marry you. Period. Hard stop.
Everybody.
That's women will marry somebody they're not attracted to.
No, they don't.
Lies.
No, I don't think
you can't say that. You're not even married, woman.
That don't mean I don't know married women.
I don't think that you marry people you're not attracted to. I think that you may marry somebody. I think you may marry somebody who you eventually become unattracted to for other reasons.
Think about that for a second.
But I don't think that anybody marries anybody they're unattracted to out the gate. Somebody you're unattracted to out the gate won't even get close enough to get married. There has to be something there from the beginning. Who is sitting around?
All right, I'm gonna throw race into this real fast. White women do it all the time.
I disagree.
White women marry men.
I
I think white women are
we
far more traditional.
They were all white. We just lost all.
I don't think that's true, friend. I don't think it's true.
I sit around with these white women. They tell me their stories. I'm like, woo, yeah.
I think how long they've been married?
Their children are like 9 and 10, so at least that long.
I think that people. I think that after a man get on your nerves for about 10 years, you be like, I never even know why I liked you anyway.
Hold on. I will completely 100% agree with that. I think the biggest women of most marriages is around that decade. Turon, wait. Turon, how long were you married? How long were you married?
I did 15 years.
Did?
Like it was a bid. Like it was a bid.
He did a bid.
I was married for 15 years.
She was sick of that nigga at 10.
She was like, you gotta go. I was like, you know what?
Facts, you ugly.
Look, I went to Turon's house for 3 years.
Hold on, wait. About transactions.
Wait, hold on. I want to say this. I went to Turon's house 3 years, didn't know he was married. I was like, wait, there's a woman upstairs? What is going on?
Shut up.
Sorry, you gotta have tickets to come to the man cave.
Can we dial this back? So we're talking about attractiveness to get married. So, Brian, Turon, you all trying to tell me you're attracted to Oprah?
Yes.
Oprah, if you listening, you are the best looking thing I have.
You are so beautiful to me.
Can't you see?
The lies. Lies.
So, Love Inspired Teach, he said that there are people who are attracted to intelligence.
So I think that's
I tell you all the time. Sapiosexual. I talk about that every damn podcast.
I think that we are saying that. So there's. I'm the opposite.
Some women are attracted to all
I'm the opposite of this. I think if you are if I didn't find you physically attractive up front, not to say you're unattractive, I just wasn't turned on by you up front.
Yeah.
But you are funny and smart and driven and interesting. Yeah, I could. Yeah,
You eventually get attracted to them.
yeah, you could. I could grow an attraction, surely.
Okay, so you don't necessarily have to be attracted to them out the gate to build attraction.
But what I'm saying is,
Not you in particular,
you
but
were
people in
probably
general.
borderline attractive to me anyway. If you look like Lizzo, I don't give a fuck how funny you are.
Lizzo is beautiful.
Okay.
Oprah!
She's beautiful.
In which way?
In her face. Y'all
Y'all full of
Y'all make me
shit.
say the worst thing.
No, Mo, you brought it up. You stressed it. You like, Lizzo is beautiful.
And you gave your answer.
I did not mean it that way.
It was
They're
definitely
terrible.
so
He always be setting me up to say
what I'm
that.
saying is, whatever.
First of all, Lizzo is rich.
And beautiful.
I don't know how
She is rich.
Oh, she is.
She look better than Oprah.
Wait. Is she rich?
She does look better than
She
Oprah.
look
That's
better
true.
than
Oprah.
But
The
she ain't got
millions make a
Oprah money.
Sure got
And
Oprah money.
we're back.
And let me tell you something. When I see you on set and everybody else got one chair and you got that extra strength 5-wheel extra broad chair,
I can't stand.
that means they ship out to get do for you.
I hate all of you.
I've never claimed to have a big ass dick, and I won't today.
I'm done.
Nothing I can do with that big girl. I'm just saying.
I'm done.
You just flip over, you stick your dick in.
I gotta roll in some flour to find the wet spot first. I'm not doing that shit.
This is terrible. If you are the
So who got
size
us
of
here?
Lizzo,
If you want the size of Lizzo,
The expression shared by.
I can't take it. That's right, Darren. Lizzo is cute
she's beautiful.
in the face. Why is that unfortunate? Oh, undoubtedly.
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 The words were little. Sorry.
it's cute.
Plenty
in
of
the
women
face.
date and marry unattractive men. I
Thank
agree.
you. I agree.
I
Why?
think men do it
that's
too.
what
Wait,
I'm
why?
saying,
Why
'cause
do
it's
they?
transactional.
That's what I said.
Because it's transactional.
I think men do it too.
It's
I
transactional.
agree.
Transaction is
I
money
think men do it too.
or big ass dick. Big country dick, as we got in the first.
I
We
think
line.
having our podcast on Big Country Day.
We are not. Well, let me tell you that I'm out of town next week.
Well, when
You
you-
can
Can I come to that
do
one?
whatever you like to do.
I'm gonna come to that
We're
one.
talking about Big Country
I'm
Day.
You are more than welcome to talk about that shit when I'm gone. It will not be in his own podcast.
It will absolutely be in the zone. We'll talk about Big Country Dick. We gonna have this big. That you see that all that big country dicks. Yes.
So April said that many people aren't attracted to obese, and I'm gonna disagree. So shout out to my big girl friends who have all y'all husbands in their inboxes. I think that
Well, that took a turn.
No, because we talk about transactions,
Wait,
right?
put the camera on me real quick.
Hey, wait.
Put the
Can he
camera on
zoom?
me.
You got to blink
There you
twice.
go.
Wait, hold on. I can't believe that was just saying.
I said what I said.
I can't take
We
it.
go-
Chicken, what's up, chicken?
I said what I said. Oh, wait, let me get this comment, then we're gonna go to
You
chicken.
gonna get this comedy or this
Yeah.
comedy?
No, comment. I said comment.
They actually avoid marriage
I
until
do-
they are
Comment.
stable.
I do think that men secretly are chubby chasers. I've seen a lot of that in my circle of friends who are on the Lizzo side of things.
So wait, why would Chubby
That they
Chasers
have
be
a
a
lot-
bad thing?
Brian,
That they
Brian,
have a
is
lot
this
of-
accurate?
That they have a lot of
I got one rule.
chubby chasers.
Hold on,
Chubby chaser.
hold on. We got.
What's your rule,
Gotta
Brian?
get
I
right.
don't fuck with nothing I can't pick up.
So you even gotta be a
200
strong
I
man.
pounds?
can't pick up Lizzo. I can't pick her up.
So your rule is you have to be.
Well, what if she can pick you up?
Then am I the one that's, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm just saying, little nigga.
If he was Stevie Wonder, he's
And there's nothing wrong with a voluptuous woman.
Hey, I
Okay,
didn't
so
say
wait, what
nothing
was the
wrong with
comment?
it.
Men
I just said
avoid
that
marriage
me.
until they are stable. I
don't even know if that's
I don't
accurate.
think that's true.
I don't think that's
I don't
accurate.
think it's accurate.
I don't
And
think
most
so.
men don't marry until they're stable.
Come on, not y'all. We're not talking about the talented 10. We're talking
I
about
don't even
men
think
generally.
if you roll their asses up in it, I don't
I
think
guess
that's
it
accurate.
depends on what you define as stable.
No,
I
I
don't-
think that I think that financially stable men delay marriage as long as they can. I think
I
that
agree.
Chicken
men-
define stable.
Yeah,
Keep going,
come back.
No,
But I think that financially stable men delay marriage as long as they can because they wanted a financially stable woman.
because they can't.
Because they can't.
No,
But what if she's financially stable also, and you still like, no, it's not the time for
Then
us to
that's
marry?
not. Then you're transactional.
Because you're already financially stable.
Which leads me
That's
back
what
to
I'm saying.
men are
You
more
looking for-
transactional. Thanks.
Dude.
No,
I think that women are.
Say,
I definitely
B,
think
can you
that
turn
women
her
are
mic
more
off?
transactional.
No.
Turn my mic off. I think that women are definitely more transactional.
Yes.
If we're gonna go with a generalization one way or the other, I think that women are more transactional.
Yeah.
I think that every woman, no matter how hard she works or how much she's a go-getter or how much she makes, quite honestly, wants to
Those chickens coming.
sit at home and
And
not
then
do
hit
nothing.
Roberts after that.
I
Talking
think
about
women want
stable-
to sit at home, don't do nothing.
Men want more money and more status at work and more education. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
But I feel like men in relationships have been transactional since the dawn of time. I agree, Rob.
I agree.
Or Robert, whatever the case may
But-
be.
Rob Mitch.
But I don't think that they were transactional to Rob's
They don't
comment.
trust
I don't
you.
think that they were transactional because
Mm.
of the people. I think that's learned behavior. I think we're taught that marriage, that relationships have to be transactional.
I don't
I
argue
think
with
at our
that.
core, they're not. But I think that we are conditioned to believe that they need to be. Like everybody is conditioned to believe that relationships have to be reciprocal. If I give something, I have to get something, and I don't think that that's human nature. I think it's taught.
So let me tell you this, our boy, Chris, said something to me earlier today, and I think, Chantel, you just touched on this. So we were talking about, men, who's more transactional. And he said that men are more transactional
Thank you, Chris.
because he said you can't point to a dude earning six figures that's married to a chick that's not earning six figures. I'm sure we could.
I
I
know
I'm
a
sure we
can.
could.
Oh, I
I'm
can.
sure we could. But what I countered to him was, I don't think that's transactional. I think that's optional.
What do you mean it's optional?
It's an option.
Because he
I don't-
has the option
He
to
has
get a
the options to
six-figure.
wait.
I can wait because there's more you all than there is of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not put in a position where I got to make a decision like, oh man, I like this girl, I love this girl, but she work at Walgreens stocking the shelf. But she do this, that, and the other.
But that's transactional because at
Is
that
that transactional? Or is
yes,
that's not
because
transactional. That's just more. I'm looking for somebody that I'm more equally. yoked
but
with.
why? But why? Why are you looking for somebody that mirrors your economic class? Is that for outside view? Because I would argue that it
Because I'm not
is.
looking for a dependent. I'm looking for a partner.
And when I want to go to Maldives,
What is Maldives? Maldives?
Maldives. Goddamn it.
Tell him, man.
Hey, look.
To the Maldives.
I'm like, what is Maldives?
You want a
I don't know what it
Maldives?
is. I don't know what
You want a
Maldives.
Maldives?
Do you want a Maldives?
I don't.
Moving on.
Actually, I
So-
definitely don't want a Maldives. I don't want to do that.
Let's bring you back.
Okay.
Hey, but
Let's
that is
go.
a preference. But what I'm saying, that's a preference. But what I'm saying is, it's not transactional.
No,
It's optional because I have more options.
I think so too. I agree with that. I don't think that that's a transaction. I think that a transaction is. I think going back to the top of the show, I think that a transaction is you give me something and I gain what I want by you giving me what you give, whether it's on either side. I just think that women have tendency to be more transactional because at our core,
Oh shit!
Now she's not lying there.
Some lazy mother.
Oh,
that's
she
not
said
none of
that.
Get
No.
your lazy ass off that
At our
couch.
core, we want to be taken care of and
Big
provided.
facts.
We want the soft life, as I have seen trending on the internet.
Yeah,
We want the soft life.
I for sure
We
want
want
that.
everything to be optional for us. I want to work if I want to. I want to.
Yeah,
I want
absolutely.
everything. It's like I want this. I'm doing this because I want to, not because I have to.
Yeah.
Women don't want to have to.
Big facts.
I don't want to have to.
Then marry Oprah.
Then be a woman.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay,
right?
Oh damn! Oh,
And then
I
be
mean,
a
that's
woman.
what we're
Really?
saying.
Then be a woman.
right in that knife.
Fine.
Then be a woman.
I think the
What about folks with generational wealth? What about them, Brian?
I'm asking the question.
Well,
What
first of all,
about
put the comment on the
generational wealth?
screen,
Okay,
and then let's talk about
Yeah,
it.
let's talk about generational wealth.
And this is
'Cause-
camera still on B-Falls?
Let's do it.
No, that's not.
no.
So you all are talking about people that are getting the bag.
Mm-hmm.
What about
Right.
people that already got the bag and have had it for generations?
They are incredibly transactional.
They
Absolutely.
They do not marry for
Everything they
feelings.
do is
But it's
transactional.
Period.
different. It's a difference in their transaction and what they're looking for.
What do you mean?
What they're looking for is different. Their
Yeah.
money might not be what they're looking for. They might not
Mm-hmm.
be looking for financial wealth. They might be looking for some other things that they can like. Do you have good kids? Can you make good kids? Do you have a strong bloodline? Do you
Yeah.
have?
I've never
It's
seen
a
it.
different.
First of
thing
all,
that-
be
I've
clear.
never
They
seen
need you to
a
have
woman.
some money. You can't come in there
No,
with
no,
my
no,
salary.
no.
No,
But we
and what's that
talking
Kardashian boy that had the baby by the stripper?
Rob
Rob.
Kardashian.
So they right now you ain't heard shit else from him. They're like,
Rob-
you done fucked up the church's
Rob
money.
has problems, but
What about
your
Meghan and Harry Markle or whatever that shit is?
Yeah.
She ain't got no goddamn money.
She ain't got no money.
None.
none.
I
But
feel
she
like
got
he's an
some good
anomaly.
box, and he ain't had
But
no good
no,
box.
but
But if you
we
look
talking
at her
about
brother,
an
her
anomaly.
brother-
He's an anomaly in the sense that he was looking to
Break the family.
put a
But
middle
even if
finger
you
to
look
the
at everybody
world
he dated before, was
he wanted a
appropriate,
contract.
was in the same kind of sphere of people that they date. They
That's
were
'cause
bred
That's what
well.
we knew.
He wanted a contract.
Until he got.
was around.
Until he went.
Hey,
there's a
she
reason
made
why-
him change his religion and give up a kingdom.
Yes.
She didn't make him do that. He was on his way to doing that.
That's
Bullshit.
kind of
That's how he met her.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
He met her out there tricking.
Well,
Now,
yeah.
we can talk about Harry later. Hold on.
We can talk about
But
Harry
to
met
your,
Sally.
To your comment about generational wealth, I think that when it comes to if you're talking, you said that they marry and
It's all transactional.
it's all transactional, but to your point, it's not about money. Sometimes it's about status. It typically is about status. It's about the exchange of status. We both got money, so what can you offer me? Oh well, my dad is the CEO of this, or my mom is the CEO of that, right? So it goes back to that dowry conversation, right? How are we able to build together, which takes it back to it being an exchange. You believe in arranged marriages? Oh, God bless you.
Michelle, it look,
God bless you, Michelle.
were you? Have you been married and was your marriage
It's on
arranged?
arrangement.
But go ahead.
I didn't know people actually did that outside of Indian
Don't
people.
arrange
Okay.
me with nothing. Hispanic
Wait,
people
first of
and
all, if
Arab
you're going to
people
arrange me
still-
with Jeff Bezos, we may be on and popping.
that Jeff Bezos don't. You
Jeff
not
Bezos
gonna
Do you
get
see what his
arranged.
ex-wife is doing? She giving $100 million to bank
But
to
you're not
schools
gonna get
just for
arranged
fun.
with Jeff Bezos.
Oh,
That's true,
equally
I'm
yoked.
not.
That's different. And equally yoked is even.
Yeah, well, I don't even know. Okay, I'm a full whole Christian. I don't know what equally yoked means
I agree.
because I think the meaning change depends on who's saying it.
Who's saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly right. It could be what. So I've always
Don't
said
bring
this.
Christianity.
I've always
Well,
said
Michelle did.
Here's this equally yoked, and we're gonna shift on that.
Pivot.
2 second pivot, and then we're gonna come back. So if you are equally yoked, does that mean you have the same spiritual beliefs? Does that mean you have the same degrees? Does that mean you have the same financial stability? I will say that it's none of those things. I will say it depends on where you are in that moment.
Mhm.
And I say that to say, I know plenty of electrician. I know plenty of mechanic. I know plenty of water pipes worker that make more money than most white collar dudes out
That's
there.
right. They make high six-figure
They're
salaries.
making great 6-figure salaries.
Great.
But
They nails dirty.
bless you.
Thanks.
Here's what we talking equally yoked. You can't take that man.
I feel like that.
you can't take that man to your corporate function
There you have it.
and put him around that piece and have him say he does this.
Ooh, we talked about this before.
Or even if he can't hold conversation that matches the conversation in the room, you feel a certain way about what he does.
This is all true.
Or
That's the
he
part.
can't say that he's done. He doesn't hold these highfalutin bullshit ass conversations we have at galas or whatever, and you feel a certain way that he can't.
That's true.
Or he feels a certain way.
Or he feels a
Oh,
certain
yeah.
way that he exactly. So
Because
equally
you might
yoked
not care
Right.
one way or other, but he's so insecure that he can't flow. He can't go
Facts.
flow.
So basically what y'all saying is somebody's insecurity is at play.
Fact.
Facts.
But
Well, it's
somebody's
hers, yeah.
insecurity is at play
Yeah.
when we get to the core of a transactional relationship. Because a transactional relationship at its core, anything that you're seeking in another person is something that you're insecure about not having on your own.
Ooh.
Snaps on that. Absolutely right.
My Cash App is.
Look, she
When
is
it's
about
100
money because she's giving
giggles.
you a cash. No, I think that's
Yeah.
at the core
That's the
of what
core
we're
of it.
saying. You are looking to fill gaps in where you're insufficient or
Correct.
feel insufficient. And that's where the transaction comes in.
Correct.
So when you're looking for a typical, or how we frame it in the question, I'm sorry, that's a great transition, Eric, actually, by the way.
To which one? This one? Can you move from a transaction from a okay
To a relationship.
To a how we
to a
say it?
relationship
To a
to
true
partnership?
To a true partnership. That's the word. To a true relationship partnership. Can you shift gears from a transactional relationship to a true partnership?
So I'll start that off by simply saying yes, in the sense because through that transactional relationship, if it survived that long to make that shift, that means you learned something along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take those lessons and apply them, then you got something different than what it is. And I think that your values will change. Values will change then also. Right in the middle of my lunch joint, the beer, right?
Right into it.
So,
yes. I'm with you. I'm just being nice today. Being nice today.
Oh, she gave.
As opposed to
Typically, she.
Myself.
well then there you
Anyway,
go.
So
I like that. Sean,
I think
can
everybody- I
you
feel like-
downshift?
I think any relationship can transition to a healthy one. I think if people want to.
Are you saying transactional relationships?
I think
healthy?
any kind of relationship can, even if it's a toxic one, I think it can transition to a healthy. What is it? True partnership. It can.
So you're gonna tell me a
People
woman and
people
or
can
man that's
change.
been in a domestic
That's not an anomaly.
is toxic. And now, what do you mean? Man?
People have been in abusive relationships that have shifted into. I'm not saying it's regular, and I'm not saying it happens all the time. What I am saying is it can happen.
Okay, anything.
Anything can
Well,
happen.
then
That's
okay
what you're
then.
gonna do.
My
I mean,
point
that's
is,
bullshit.
Does it happen or is it healthy for it to happen? Like we
Now
talking
that I
about-
can't argue.
We
I have
talking
no
about
clue.
healthy relationships or we just talking about relationships?
But my point to stick with
stick.
transactional relationships.
Transitional? Addictual?
Yeah,
We're
all
talking
of
about
that.
transsexuals this
Oh,
week.
Can they?
That's a different
Yeah,
conversation.
I think
I
ultimately,
hate y'all.
I've always felt like if you spend a lot of time with somebody, you're eventually gonna love them. Now, what that love looks like is up to you guys. Brian, what you over there talking about? Are you over there talking shit?
They all are. If you are a whore, let's go
What?
to
Go to
Camille's
that.
comment.
Go to that comment.
Oh,
Go to
God.
that.
Hey, Camille.
Go to Camille's comment.
Hey man, why are those comments not coming up on my phone? Because I've been
you-
looking.
Oh, because they may be someplace
Go
else.
to
Yeah,
go
we
to
had that
YouTube.
YouTube.
So let's talk about this.
They
Let's
are,
talk about
if you
this.
are a whore.
They are what if you are a whore?
the
Camille?
topic of the conversation. Are relationships transactional?
Oh, Camille. Oh.
And this is all
Oh,
I'm gonna say about
Camille.
this.
Camille's not saying she's not a whore. She's
She's just saying.
saying if you are. Right.
So
Oh.
the deal is this. Even if all you want is to be taken on a nice dinner, the relationship is transactional.
True.
A man ain't got to cash after you put money in your bank account, pay your rent,
True.
all those things that people characterize as whore tendencies, like pay my rent, pay my car note, do this, do that. If that's transactional, that's something. You sell cool shit every time you go to dinner, though.
Not Camille.
Thank you,
You
mama.
go to dinner, he paid for your dinner, then you sold the cool.
You bought that coop.
That's
You,
facts.
it was sold.
How much was
Especially
the
if you're on the
dinner,
fucking
though?
side of the
Don't even
menu.
matter.
Don't
But if
matter.
you went to Five Guys and got fries
That's
and a
right.
shake,
Oh,
That's right.
goddamn.
Oh, the shake is what puts you over.
He invested in that coochie. He invested in that
you were
coochie.
sold.
And you sold
So,
that.
1, 2, 3, sold.
Sold for chocolate shake and fries.
Your fries suck too, by the way.
You're sold regardless, okay?
No doubt. And you
You
paid,
either-
gentlemen.
You either low budget sold or you high
Oh, you
budget
high.
sold. So
Depends
you
on what
might
you
as well
paid
go
for.
for the bag, sis.
You either red bottoms or you just bottoms.
Or you just blue bottoms.
I'm feeling that you either red bottoms or bottoms. Wow.
That's tough, but it's true.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let's talk. Camille, don't be just you late. Don't be coming in here fucking up the conversation.
Oh my
What we
god.
talking
I
about?
don't know.
No.
Can you move from a
No,
Can you
transaction?
move?
now,
Move.
when
Can you
you
move?
treat him to dinner,
Oh, girl, you bought the
you
dick.
bought the dick.
And if you bought this, you could have bought that motherfucker a Tic Tac and took him to the crib, and he'd gave you the same dick.
Taylor T. Ivy. Yes.
I
See, you know,
disagree.
Mr. You know,
What do you mean you disagree? I disagree.
How?
I disagree.
Nigga, you didn't fuck for less than that.
Sex.
I occasionally need a nice meal to keep me
Entertained.
entertained.
Oh my God.
Occasionally.
I need a nice fogo.
Every quarter. In between that lady.
Just to keep me entertained and enthralled.
Occasionally, hey, anytime outside of that quarterly piece, just pick him up, give him a hot rag at the crib, and he's going.
Hey, that hot rag is
That
Jesus.
I pay, you pay, I pay, you pay, I pay, you pay. You're still paying for the
Everybody's invested in each other.
Private
correct. You paying.
You paying for something.
You paying for something.
Everybody's paying for something.
Everybody
Lord.
paying for something.
But can you move that paying into a real relationship?
Yeah, for sure.
Camille, get the hell out of here.
Then why y'all kicking Camille out?
I love
She
Camille.
gone.
Oh, bye.
I think
I love
you
Camille.
can definitely turn transactional relationships into a real relationship. I think you can.
It's a learned behavior. Over time, you teach him or her what it is that you want.
Yeah.
If they stay in it that long, they submit to whatever that is.
Are you about to disagree?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Can it happen? Sure. Anything is possible.
Will it happen?
Will it happen? Probably.
No, but wait a minute. We just said that all, and I'm going to throw them all in the. Okay, the majority of rich people, ultra wealthy people, get married is transactional, right?
Probably. Yeah.
And they get married for centuries, and they get married 30, 40, 50, 60,
Can-
70
but
years.
But
Can
you
we
gotta,
go-
but you gotta remember that transaction is the core of it, right? Like the reason you got married is the reason they stay married, because they're looking for that status, they're looking for that upper mobility, they're looking for that, and that's your family, that's your mama. Everybody put that pressure on you not to leave. So if you got married for that reason, yeah, you'll stay together. Is that a healthy relationship? No.
That's what I was about
I
to
would
say.
actually
Because it goes back
disagree
to
it
the
is.
podcast y'all had a few weeks ago about why the married people cheat, or whatever y'all talked about a few weeks ago. Didn't y'all have that?
Just for the
Or did
record.
I
About
Yeah.
married people. That was
Different-
like 2 months ago,
different
but that's all right.
podcasts.
It's cool.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
fine.
And
Well,
they
it goes
didn't
back to
cheat.
that, right? Because I think that there are a lot of people who stay together, but are they healthy marriages?
They
Are they
didn't
healthy
cheat.
relationships?
They didn't cheat. They were just bringing a little spark to the relationship.
Or you didn't cheat. You
Lord
just,
have mercy.
You didn't. Sometimes, and this is way off topic, and we can talk about this on the next podcast.
Might be
But
easy.
sometimes people,
Oh, we all big contradictions.
sometimes people on the outside think it's cheating, and people in the relationships are like,
Oh, Will Smith
who
and Jada?
cares?
It's known. So this is
Who
what it is.
cares? Nobody. Why do
So
y'all
that's a
care so much
transaction for
about
their
what
relationship.
we doing?
It's a transaction
It's
for
not
their
our
relationship.
business.
That's facts.
Because it's not cheating to us. It's cheating to y'all.
That's an agreement
So-
we got.
Right.
That's the only
Right.
agreement that
Mind
matters.
your business.
But that's transactional because
Mind
they
your
turn it into
business.
shit like called the red table.
Jada does.
Wait, how do you know that's not part of what was included in the
Facts.
transaction?
That's
not
fact.
part.
Okay,
That's
That's
fact.
what she's saying. Yeah,
That's
That's what I'm saying. You don't know what people have agreed to as far
That's
as their
facts.
transaction.
that's
facts.
You
not
know,
facts.
stop telling people they cheat. Hey, stop getting in people's business and telling them they cheat. Y'all know what people got going on.
First of all, it's the
business.
goofy that went and told their relationship.
Well,
You
we're
keep your
not
shit-
talking about Will and Jada because you mad at them.
I'm not
We
mad at them.
talking about everybody else.
why you mad at Will and
Well,
Jada?
I'm not.
Not mad. What
He
I'm
said
saying is,
it's a red
if
tape.
me and my wife got a
That's what they call it. It was
understanding,
transactional.
and I come to you and I say, hey, me and my wife got to understand, and you either want to get with that and you cool with it or you ain't, then don't just go put me on blog. He all had cheating. No, I'm not cheating. I'm working within the boundaries of my relationship with my woman.
Yeah.
You just weren't willing to be a part of that, which is completely fine.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe she is afraid of that type of open, honest communication.
Yeah.
And that's usually what it is.
Well, maybe she wanted
That's
to
good,
and you
Michelle.
gotta be
Thanks,
the one to go
Michelle.
get it.
And there you have it.
Maybe that too.
So the transactional side of it, it is what it is you are willing to accept, regardless of whom it may be, which the male and or the female.
But you all think you can switch, can shift.
You can
this
switch.
strictly transactional piece to a more traditional relationship.
Yeah,
I think you could. But traditional in the sense of here, this country again, because I always
This
just say
this
that.
country.
Okay.
Traditional is in I married this motherfucker because he was rich and he was paying my bills. But damn, I actually love this motherfucker.
Yeah,
If he go
I
broke, I still
I
stay
think
with
so.
this motherfucker.
Whoa.
think
Because and
Whoa, look at that with James Brown. That's that. You
Hold
say
on.
now,
I may be
now
on
you're
your boat. I may be on your boat there.
But well, let me give you this before you say that. Men are egotistical by nature, and women are emotional by nature. If he puts you in that position to where you are emotionally stable, he takes care of you, he protects you, he provides for you, and those are the things that you look. And I'm not just saying that financial side, but just the little shit. Motherfucker comes around, open the door for you. He lets you walk on the inside of the street instead of on the outside of the street.
Brothers, if you don't know why that is,
just
Right.
God,
Get at you
just
later.
die. That's what you do.
So I mean, you
let
know,
me teach you.
he gives you that last bite of his motherfucking carrot cake, whatever it may
Ooh.
be. Mm-hmm.
I might fall in love with a nigga who do that.
This is what I'm trying to kind of tell you.
I'm kind of trying.
I'm trying to kind of tell you. So
I
that's
love
what
carrot cake.
Carrot cake is my shit. Girl.
We're
You doing
soulmates.
that?
So on that note, we're at the end of showtime. Thank everybody for joining us. Don't go anywhere yet. We got final thoughts. I'm gonna start with Turon. We'll go left to right. Turon, final thoughts. Transactional relationships, good, bad, otherwise. What do you think?
Man. So I think final thoughts with it. I think initially every relationship tends to be transactional. I'm in it for what I'm gonna get because you don't know if it's gonna last. And if you continue that relationship and you go into something that is much more plentiful, whether you want to say I do, then I think it's a good thing.
Erica?
I think that you can have a relationship that's transactional that eventually turns into something real. And I think that most people into relationships with the thought process of what do I have to gain from this, and then it becomes what it becomes.
Mm-hmm. So, where you at?
I think if it works,
Everybody
work
got real
it.
soft spoken right now, by the way.
If it works, work it. Like I don't think there's a wrong or a right either way.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like I said at the top of the show, this whole love and marriage and wanting to have a wonderful life thing is a 20th century phenomenon. Before that, it was all about land and wealth. So it worked then. I don't see why it wouldn't work now.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't go ahead.
It doesn't work now because people are incredibly bothered by infidelity. And back then they weren't.
And they shouldn't be now. Why you bullshitting?
That's true.
I didn't
That's
say
the point.
one. That's my
No, I'm I'm agreeing
right,
with you.
Right now it's like, F him. He cheated, girl. Leave him. Leave him. He cheated.
And you know what she do when she leaves them? Her girl go and give him the box.
This is not
And
normal.
I'm not saying that people need to settle for that or whatever. They live by your own convictions, honey. But I think that that's the reason. What is the reason?
So we should just all be fully transactional, and if you cheat, then it is what it is.
If you want society to be like it was before the 20th century, I think that's what people have to be used to.
No, before that, we were in slavery, so no thank you.
You broke that time period up. You the one did that. You did that, honey. I didn't say that. That was you.
I will say this. I think that on both sides, I think one man, one woman is not a biological.
God, this is not the conversation.
I'm just bringing
This is not what we talking
I
about.
don't think it's a biological fact. I think it's a man-made
Lord,
construct, basically by white men in America that control women, and we have fallen into that construct.
that's very true. But what you got to say about transactional relationships?
This circles back into my transactional relationship closing.
Like, yes, it's the white man's fault, but what?
I'm not blaming the white man. Look, 3 white men just fell off this podcast.
Damn. Look
But
at that.
I'm
One
saying-
came back. He's like, let me finish. He's like, let me see what you
Come
say.
back. Here I come back. Come on, Chip. Don't be that way.
Oh, God.
Jesus, I'm down to 10.
Oh, my God.
So what I'm saying is this. In closing, I think that transactional relationships are highly underrated. And I think most relationships at their core are built off transactions.
Yeah.
I agree.
They are all built. Well, I think we all here. I think they're all built off transactions. That transaction could be a million different things, but I think they're all based off that. I think where we go left is two ways. When we depend on that same transaction we started with carrying throughout.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna. It's gonna change. It's gonna shift. It's gonna morph. Amorphous. You gotta figure that out. And or it doesn't change, and you hope that it would. And I will put that on women more than men. you got into it thinking it's one thing and knowing it's one thing and hoping that that thing would shift because of a variety of reasons. And that man is the same dude you got with in the beginning. You knew who he was, you knew what he was about, you knew what he had, and you thought your box, your support, your whispers in his ear would shift that. And it doesn't. And then you get upset. The best advice I got before I got married was, if your wife, or your soon-to-be wife, never changed, was the same person for the rest of her life, could you live with that?
Same.
And if you got into that thinking you could shift them or change them or that marriage would, you are entering the wrong institution.
Get out.
So, in closing, I will say I think that all relationships are transactional at their core, and I don't see anything wrong with that. You just have to figure out if that transaction is beneficial for you, and more importantly, beneficial for the both of you. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't benefit both of you, it's going to collapse. Because somebody's going to bounce. On that note, y'all, another great episode of the In the Zone podcast. I appreciate our commentary. I appreciate my guests. We love you. We love you. We love you. I was just giving Shontelle shit. I will be back in time for the next show next week.
Big country dick?
You know what? I might take another day in Atlanta. Oh wait, we just said big country dick in Atlanta. No shit, I'm sorry.
Hey, and you know Lil Nas won. Never mind. He won Entertainment of the Year. So
I'll talk Brian into big country dick for next week.
No, we will not talk about that shit. We're gonna figure out the topic next week. We're gonna see if we can shift the conversation we were gonna have this week into what we're gonna have next week.
Yay!
Which is about oral sex. Its pluses, its minuses, its wins, its losses.
So far, we can only get men on this show. We
No,
can't
no,
get
no, no,
women.
no,
I would love to come.
No.
You want to
I'll
come
be gone.
to the show?
To the show.
That's what I just said. What
No,
you
no,
think
no,
I was talking
I
about?
think
So
we
I
have
won't
got
be
two
here.
young ladies that are gonna come. One, which is a oral sex expert, and one who believes oral sex is only transitional and really not that good.
I don't disagree.
Insert gas right here.
Remember, we just had that conversation. Love y'all. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. It's getting warm. Stay safe wherever you are. We'll see you next week.